that, like, Angela wasn't intimidating to us. And, you know, it was weird. Like, there were so many fucking characters in this movie, and they were all just getting knocked off, and that was fine, but I wish they would have done it in more inventive ways. But it's a good movie. It's a good fucking sequel. In fact, it's one of the best 1-2 punches, and we've talked about this before many times, one of the best 1-2 punches out there. You've got Friday the 13th, 1 and 2. You've got Halloween 1 and 2. You've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2. Hatchet 1 and 2. Saw 1 and 2. Child's Play 1 and 2 aren't bad. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2, that's a pretty big departure. Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2, I think it really, you know, it stacks up pretty well against the rest. You know, somewhere in the middle, probably.
Yeah. I think so.
Damn good movie. It's worth watching. It's just, you know, it's nowhere near a perfect movie, but it's like they don't give a shit, and that's fine with me. You know, I love this movie. And it's not one, this is kind of a high 3, by the way, not like a low 3. This isn't even near the 2s. But, you know, it's one of those that I can watch once a year and be completely happy. I love watching the Sleepaway Camp movies. They're great. And I can't wait to talk about, you know, Sleepaway Camp 3 next year. So I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're doing it the way we're doing it. I miss camp slashers. And I don't mean just slashers, but slashers at camp, man. They're the best ones. Like, I know you're a Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy. I get that. And I also love Halloween. They're great movies. But the best type of slasher to me are the ones that take place at camp. And I know you agree with that because you love The Burning. You love Sleepaway Camp.
Let me go ahead and clarify this. I am a chainsaw guy. That is the be-all, end-all to me. But that is because, as you said earlier, they're horrific. And that's what I like. That's what I dig. But, yes, there's nothing more fun than a slasher at a camp. Like, from Friday the 13th to The Burning to Sleepaway Camp. To every other
Drill was cool.
80s camping movie that came out. Like, I love every single one of them, even the worst of the worst, because they're just fun.
Fuck yeah. And by the way, the drill and the chainsaw were both cool, but again, we didn't get anything other than some blood. So while it's cool, we didn't get anything from it. So it's like, who gives a shit, you know?
Yes, sir.
I guess that's what my issue was. It just was like, they were concerned about other things, and that's fine because one of those things was tits. But you did lack on the over-the-top kills because that's what you look for in a slasher. But again, I feel like I'm defending my point, and nobody's even disputed it. So it's 3 out of 4 for me. 3 out of 4 machetes, and it could have easily been 3.5 out of 4. It's just, I don't think in any world we could have given it 4 out of 4 though. It just didn't have enough meat to it for me.
No. There's, like I said, I was at a 3 until I sat back and reflected about all the titties.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, I went the other way, not because of the titties, because they were great, but I think the kills are what brought me down a little bit. And there were plenty of them. They just weren't that great, so that bummed me out a little bit. So, Vic, let's talk a little bit about, Vic, I'll first talk about this, okay? So, I ordered Domino's today, Vic, and I know you're confused because I told you I ordered Philly cheesesteak, right? Philly cheesesteak pizza.
Yeah.
And I told you once upon a time I can't order their Philly cheesesteak pizza. Now, I wasn't sure why at the time. All I knew is that when you would put it in, it would say, this has gluten, right? And I was like, that's fucking weird. It's on gluten-free crust, so what is it that has the gluten? So I never really looked further into it. Well, today I looked into what's actually on the pizza, and they use this Alfredo sauce on the Philly cheesesteak pizza, right? And that's what has the gluten. So what I did was today I got a gluten-free pizza. They have like a coupon, $9.99 for a gluten-free crust. All right, 3 toppings. Cool. Okay. It's a small pizza, but, you know, fuck it. It's worth it just to have some fucking pizza of some kind. So I get, you know, the Philly cheesesteak, provolone, and green peppers. You get 3, you know, 3. I like the peppers. Onions, not so much unless they're, like, really sauteed. So I'm not into that so much. So I went with the green peppers. But instead of having the Alfredo sauce, I did this, like, buttery garlic sauce that they have.
Yeah.
And it was fucking amazing, dude. Didn't need the Alfredo sauce. This worked perfectly. I think that's the first time I've had Philly cheesesteak of any kind since it was the first time I had Philly cheesesteak of any time or of any type since I went to Penn Station when I was sick and I couldn't eat the bread. Like, I physically couldn't make myself eat the bread, and I didn't even know that was the problem. And I was sitting there eating just the meat and the cheese. So it was wonderful. And I like Philly cheesesteak just like you do. Maybe not quite as much, but it was awesome to have it. It's been almost a year. So
that's awesome. Well, that is awesome.
Yep. So I'm happy that I have something I can order as far as that goes. Hopefully Domino's doesn't do anything stupid and does away with it or anything. That would make me very sad. But, it was great shit. So, yeah, that's what I did tonight, and I will continue to do that when I'm in the mood for it. So that was awesome. Also, I told you the other night, I go to that Mexican place so much. I call in an order, right? I'm like, place an order. What's your name? Travis. Okay, cool. I'll get there. And the Mexican girl looks at me and she goes, "Hi, Travis." And I'm like, "Hi."
What was it, our new one?
No, not the big-titted one. She wouldn't. I didn't even see her anywhere. This is just like a counter chick, you know?
She's my new best friend.
She is hot, though, I will say. Okay. So another thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight, and I've told you this before, okay, but I need to, expand on it a little bit. There's a TV show, and I think it's a Canadian TV show, and it's a TV show, and it's a kids' TV show, okay? It's called Pancake Manor, all right? It started in 2011. It's called Pancake Manor, okay? And there's a chick on there, and her name is Reb Stevenson. I had to look this up once upon a time, and I even looked up their show on IMDb. Let me just fucking say, kid shows shouldn't get you turned on. This chick is fucking hot. I don't care what anybody says. This chick is amazing. She just looks like you wouldn't think anything of her just walking down the street, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. You know how Molly was in this movie, kind of? The good chick, not the, something about her. I don't know how to describe it, but I've sent you pictures of her before, remember? Brown hair, real big smile, red lips. She's awesome. Yeah. I'll send you a picture again. But anyway, so I shouldn't be allowed to watch this show because I have impure thoughts when I watch it. You shouldn't be thinking that when you're watching a kid's show. And it's fucked up because she'll be doing things like jumping up and down and shit. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's horrible. I shouldn't even be doing that. Yeah.
Good Lord, son.
Yeah, I know. I'm an animal. You know what I kind of compare it to? And this is true, okay? So when you're a kid, all right, look, I got a hold of Playboys just the same as anybody else. But, when you're a kid, mostly what you had access to are, Victoria's Secret catalogs or, chicks and bras from Walmart. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, me being married with children, a lot of the times the shows that I'm watching are shit like that, right? So it's kind of like that. It makes it more extreme.
You say married with children?
No, not married with children, but yeah, that would definitely be there. I'm married with children.
You say you're married with children.
I absolutely am. So, but you get my point, right?
Yeah, I got you.
It's just crazy. Anyway, so yeah, I just sent you a picture of her again. But yeah, I don't know. Something about her. I don't know what it is, but she'll be jumping up and down on that show, and I'm like, yep, keep doing that. And I'm like, I shouldn't be thinking like this right now.
I mean, I would be, so it's okay.
Yeah, but I'm sitting there with my kids, and I'm like, this is wrong. I tweeted her.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I remember.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna let you watch the show, and then you can see what I'm talking about. Because there's just scenes where I'm like, I feel dirty watching. This is fucking great. So the other thing I wanted to get into, and we'll talk about it more next week, is I have to tell you, man. I've been watching a lot of stuff on Chris Benoit lately, interviews with wrestlers and news stories and shit like that. Brings me back to 10 years ago, and I'm looking forward to talk about it next week. But I tell you what, man, it brings up a lot of bad memories, like really bad memories. And I don't think it's ever going to go away. It's the worst thing that's ever happened in wrestling.
I think it's probably. But
I don't think there's a debate. Like, I think it is absolutely the worst thing that's ever happened in wrestling. We'll talk about it next week, but I don't know. Just watching those news stories and stuff, it just brought me back, to how I felt back then.
Yeah. I mean, I was just disappointed he didn't show up at the pay-per-view. But, never mind. I'm going to go. No, I'm not a horrible person.
Yeah, we'll get into it next week, right?
I am a horrible person when it comes to this stuff, but I don't know.
But we'll get into it, man. We'll get into it next week, but I don't know, man. It's really...
I might offend everybody.
You might. I don't know, man. It's really weird looking back at it, and just 10 years later, man. I don't know if it's ever going to go away. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's already been 10 years, man. That's wild to me.
It's crazy, dude. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember it so well, but I don't remember finding out that he murdered them, but I do remember my reaction to it. You know what it was? And I'll talk about this again next week, but I just want to throw it out quickly. It was one of anger, because I remember the night before, Raw had played, that Benoit tribute, and made me cry, and it made me emotional, and made me, feel for him. And the next day I find out the dude killed his family, and I'm like, you piece of fucking shit for making me feel this way, I mean,
yeah.
Like, I don't think I was wrong in feeling that way. Like, I felt betrayed by the whole thing, and I wasn't even mad at WWE because they didn't know, but I don't know, maybe they should have thought that one through, because I think some of the guys did know, or at least had an inkling. Like JBL did. He had an inkling.
I think Rey Mysterio knew.
Really? Well, I think Regal did too, because Regal actually said on there, I want to remember him as. So he knew something was up.
Yeah.
Chavo did. I don't think Chavo did, but he knew he sounded off when he talked to him. Dude, I encourage you to look on YouTube and look up, like, Chavo talking about the Benoit thing. He was on Jericho's show. I think it was last year. It might have been very early this year, talking about it. It is fucking eerie. Dude, it's so weird. Like, he talked to Benoit. I always thought it was just through text, and it was, but he actually talked to him on the phone after he killed Nancy.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize this, but if you, like, and Chavo, I'm sure didn't realize it either, but, when you do the timeline of events, yeah, he talked to him after it. And it seemed like, Benoit, he was trying to figure out what to do, and where he was going to go from there. And I guess at some point he just decided, all right, I can't do this anymore. There's no getting away from this. So, I don't know. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
There's YouTube videos of guys visiting the Benoit murder house, too. And that's, I don't know, there's something about that, too. I don't know, man. It is so close to home for me. Huh?
Yeah, we're going to go visit the house.
Yeah, the people there will say to you, do whatever you want, just don't bug us. All right, that's fine with me. I won't bug you. I don't want to talk to people anyway.
There's people living there?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In fact, I have a link to when it was listed, and it wouldn't sell, and there's a link that says, why won't it sell? And somebody said, isn't this where that wrestler killed his family? I shit you not.
Wow.
So, I mean, like I said, I've listened to hours of interviews from people ranging from Animal to Kurt Angle to Chavo to Nancy's sister to, fucking Heidenreich. All sorts of people, just to hear what their perspective was, It's
what about
so
Kevin
weird.
Sullivan? You following with him?
Yes, I listened to him too. I listened to him too talk about it. It was, and it's on there, and he's like, all right. He's like, I think people forget that, Nancy and a little kid lost their life. Everybody focuses on Benoit, but they forget about that part.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
Yeah, and I don't want to take away the point. Yeah, I know we're calling it Chris Benoit the show, and there's a reason for that. Because we're going to be talking mostly about Chris Benoit, but just like with the Steve Stevens thing, I do want to say that this is because of innocent people. No matter what Nancy did, she didn't kill anybody to deserve this. So, she could have been the biggest bitch imaginable. She didn't deserve to die. So, I don't know. Everybody seems to have nice things to say about her, though. But but, we'll get into it more next week. I know we have some strong feelings on this whole thing.